All right. Lorna, thank you so much for joining me, for taking some time out of your schedule to come and talk to everyone about the blueprint that will be taking place on Thursday, September 17th, coming up before too long here. So, thank you so much. Welcome. And if you would give people just a little bit of background about yourself and what you'll be speaking on the day of the event.
Sure. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the greater community. So this is exciting. That's actually why I'm doing the blueprint, is because I'm excited to actually get a chance to share with everybody out there a little bit about me. I am a mother of four sons. And I went to high school here in Springfield, Missouri at Glendale, and then I left for a while and went to University of Tulsa, and then I came back and I've pretty much raised the boys here. They went to Springfield Public Schools, and one went to private, and it's been kind of crazy. And anyway, so we ultimately I started in my insurance career here as well, here in Springfield. And then I went on to develop it into a financial business, which I started in 2022. Uh, yeah, 21 or 22. Sorry. COVID messes with my sense of timing, right?
Everything is either yesterday or 500 years ago, and I'm
Thank
really not
you. I'm
sure.
glad somebody else gets it.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I started this business, my ultimate goal was to make sure that people understood they had options when it came to their financial planning, not just for now, but also for their future. A lot of people were starting to panic, and one of the biggest concerns most people have is, will I run out of money in retirement? Right. So I started to realize that I had the skills and ability to really speak to ordinary, everyday people about what that looks like, what to make decisions about to maximize the money they have, um, rolling over 401ks, making Roth investments, that kind of stuff. And from there, it's just kind of taken off. So,
Yeah. You spoke about panic a little bit there. I want to touch on that because I think it's an interesting viewpoint, kind of that we do all live in we talk about fight, flight, or freeze. We talk about being in that state of mind. And when we are in that state of mind, we don't make the best decisions. And we have so much access now to be able to make our own financial decisions. There's an app for everything. However, I think the fact that most of us are living in a place where we may not make the best decisions for ourselves, we may make some of those out of fear or other emotional factors. Having somebody outside of yourself to help with that is a really big, important thing. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
absolutely. And thank you, because that's so true. Sometimes people will ask me, gosh, if you work predominantly with numbers, do you worry that AI is going to take over because, the calculating and the internet and all the information? And I got to say, no, I
Mhm.
don't think that. Some people may think that's short-sighted. I personally think it's because the human connection is so critically important. And I think that having a person that can work with you face to face, that is not AI, that doesn't have some sort of additional set of agendas, that really can just sit and meet with you face to face. It's just, there's a comfort in that. And you're right, when we become afraid, and a lot of times we become afraid because we just lack the information. We don't even know what we don't know, right? We don't even know
Absolutely.
the questions to ask. And then we panic. And I don't know whether we freeze or we run away, but I think right now, so many people are in adrenal overload to begin with that they just get decision fatigue to a large degree. And they know they need to do something, but they just can't do it. And I think that's part of what I do, is kind of being a good steward into that next step. What do you need to do to take that next step forward for yourself, so that you do feel like you're moving towards better future and not just stuck here wondering what to do next. And you're right, there's a wealth of information out there, but I don't know that that will ever take the place of having somebody speak directly to you, to your ideas, to your goals, to your risks, and how much risk tolerance you have, and what you're capable and willing to do to help your own financial future.
Yes. And also, you talk about the risk tolerance, which is a huge thing. One of the first questions that a lot of financial planners will ask, but also, what are their own personal goals for that? Because my goals are going to be very different than somebody else you may talk to.
100%.
My family situation, some people may be able to inherit money or a business at some point. Some people may never have that opportunity, or they may be entrepreneurs and worried about also recycling that money back into what they're doing now, or maybe they have a matching 401k for work. So there are so many variables in that.
You're absolutely correct. And I wish more people truly understood how very, very different people really can be. So that's why, in my opinion, it's really important to find that advisor that really gets in there with you, walks along with you, says, what is it that you personally want? Because you're absolutely right, Tiffany. Your goals and desires and what you're driving towards may be totally different than somebody else. And that's
Mhm.
an important thing, an important consideration, that X factor, if you will, that builds up with the science and the math are one thing, but the facts and the feelings, they build in too to those plans.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that it? Are we in the genre of what you'll be talking about at the event there? Can you give us a little bit of an overview?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that I'm so excited about is this opportunity in this venue to talk to ideally a group of women who understand that, guess what? The information that you may be getting is not necessarily for you, right? It hasn't been tailored to you, it hasn't been tested for you. When you're looking at these things, it's a bit like going into, I don't know, a Dillard's, for example, and you walk in and you're like, I know I'm a size whatever. Okay, I'm a size 12, for example. So I'll just go in and I'll pick these three dresses in a size 12 and see which one fits the best. And what you may not realize is that you're not really a size 12, right? You're like a part size 10 or a part size 14 and maybe none of those things look good. And you think, well, this is it because these are the only ones that fit into my budget or my time frame or whatever. That's not how financial plans should work, right? It's not off the rack. It never was meant to be. The idea of working with individuals, specifically women, is a very niche part of this industry. And it's something that has been so overlooked for so long that everybody's just been told, well, go to the same people that your family went to, or your dad went to, or your grandfather went to, or whatever. And they don't think about the fact that they could actually find an advisor that fits them personally, right? You have choices now. My goal for most women is for them to recognize that they have a lot more power than they think they do. And empowering women is basically what I'm going to be talking about is empowering financial decisions for women. You have the ability to dictate how you want things to play out. Now, if you're married, sure, you're going to take that into a group consideration, right? It's going to be shared money, so therefore it's a shared decision. But when it comes right down to it, your opinion is important. Your thoughts are important. You may be thinking about things that have never occurred to your partner, right? Your partner
Mhm.
may not be thinking about what happens with the children if there are any, or
Yeah.
why it is that you want to travel somewhere and they may not want to.
And
right?
statistically, we will probably outlive our partners a lot of the time. If you're
100%.
married to a man, you're probably going to outlive.
Especially if you happen to be cisgender. And
Hmm.
if you're same-sex partnerships, that becomes its own ball of wax because you're not sure that you're going to be comfortable with every advisor, right? You don't know whether or not they're going to look out for not only the financial part of it, but also the rights, the laws, the regulations, the
Yes.
responsibilities. So all of those things are so critically important to take into account. And I just think to a large degree, without even meaning to, women have largely disenfranchised themselves from this. They've discounted their ability to make those decisions. And quite frankly, I think a lot of it has just been a lack of feeling like they can, right? So my goal is to hopefully get them to realize not only can you, but you should. You should absolutely know what's going on in your home financially. And to that end, also, a lot of women, and you may know this as well, Tiffany, actually run their household finances. Don't
Yes.
get any credit for it, right? And a lot of advisors, and this is just kind of a personal pet peeve, they will talk to the man
Hmm.
in the relationship, and they'll generally address the woman to make her feel like she's there, right? But that makes me crazy, right? Because when it comes right down to it, a lot of women now are running the household finances.
Hmm.
They know what's
Absolutely.
going on.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that. So my dad and my first husband happen to have both been stockbrokers.
Okay,
But back then, even my first husband, I took care of our checkbook. I was the only one who would balance our checkbook because this is back when you had a checkbook and you
sure.
balanced the
Yeah,
checkbook.
I
Um,
remember.
so yeah. So I was the one that took care of that, even though that was his world. And being in marketing before, we know that women make most of the big financial decisions. Whether you're married, single, however your life looks, women are
Sure.
making most of those purchases out there in the world. Most of these big purchases. So yes, it is very important for women to have a grasp on this.
Absolutely. And again, I'm just hoping to empower women to feel not only competent, but very capable,
Hmm.
very capable, like more capable than they realize.
Yeah. And I think additionally, there's sometimes, often a safety factor too. Women will stay in relationships that they may not be safe in if they are worried about losing financial safety
Oh,
sometimes.
100%. And we've
And
seen that play out for sure.
yeah, so there's so many variables there. So thank you for being so aware of that and bringing that. Additionally, for people who may want to be reading up on something, studying a little bit, are there any books, and this doesn't even have to be something necessarily in your specific field, but any books that you would recommend that have been meaningful to you?
Okay, so I read an obnoxious amount of self-help books. I
Me
don't
too.
know. I'm just kind of a dork that way, and I'm okay with it. It's fine. My children cringe because they just don't want to bring up these sorts of things with me because then I will tell them everything that they will need to know in probably 20 years. But at any rate, um, the one I like right now, and I've recommended to a couple of different people, is a book called Range, and it's not all that new. It's been a couple of years since it's been out. David Epstein, and it was actually recommended to me by a different friend that I just really respect that is a business leader himself. And he just really was encouraging me. And at the time, it had to do with the boys because the design of this book was all about recognizing that we're living in a very I don't want to say amorphous world, but to some degree it is. It is the best thing you can do for yourself, for your kids, is get as many skills as you can from as many places as you can. Be, you know, a master of many things. Because when it comes down to it, you have to be able to pivot, right?
Yes.
You have to be able to turn because you don't know. It's the days of I went to school to become X, and therefore I'm going to be X for the next 35 years and retire with a gold watch. That doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-mm.
So What do we do? Well, what you do is you gain as many skill sets as you can, and you make sure that you've diversified yourself in such a way that you become, um, well, at least though you got to remember the industry I'm in, but I see myself as my own human portfolio, right?
Uh-huh.
You gotta diversify. It's not okay to just put it all over here. You've got to have some pieces and parts that go to multiple different places because you straight up don't know where the next success is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on AI a little bit before and that human interaction that we are looking for. And I think that's a really good parallel there. That, if you're looking at something on AI, and when we use it for what it's appropriate for, you have a thread that you're going through and it builds on itself, right? But we're pretty much on this thread and we can vary a little bit here. But in a human conversation, we may go from one thing to another. And so just those conversations that we have, and in business, conversations are very important. If we're going to succeed and move forward, being able to have a conversation with a wide range of topics is important. And you don't have to know everything about them, but enough to use a few vocabulary words and ask the right questions when that person comes in your space.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it couldn't have been said better. Using that right vocabulary for what relates to them is a huge part of what I do. If I can translate all of this gobbledygook that you don't need to have a finance degree for, because that's what, you need me for. If I can take all that information and literally parse it down into something that's going to make a whole lot more sense over here for you and the way that you see and understand things, boy, that makes life easier, right?
Hmm.
I still remember having a conversation with my husband a really long time ago, because he has been in the industry since I'm pretty sure they started minting money. And I joke about that because he is a little bit older than me, but we run this business together. And he was at one point explaining something to me very early on in terms of puppies. And I was like, okay, I don't know what you're trying to tell me at this point, but now I'm just mad because it's talking to me like we have to, translate it down into puppies. But the goal was not lost on me, which is if you don't explain it in a language that I can understand, in a way that I can relate to, the opportunity for me to really receive that information and place it into my own life in a way that I can make good decisions is not really good. I mean, that's not an opportunity for me. It gives me stress because all I'm trying to do is translate what you're saying versus actually going, okay, now I know what you're saying.
Hmm.
So that allows me to really sort out this information in a way that I can make a decision for myself. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm not entirely, I may have taken you off topic there, but again, beauty of having human interaction is that you can kind of bounce between things. I'm pretty sure we're all pretty much ADHD at this point. So
Yeah.
it is one of my favorite things about working with real life humans is that we never know exactly what we're going to talk about, but I often walk away with an opportunity to help somebody with an annuity and also a great chicken casserole recipe. So.
Yes, I'm down for both. And actually, you did lead really well into a question that I was going to ask you because as we're talking about vocabulary, the words that we use, and all of those kind of things, are there any quotes, mantras, anything that tends to follow you through your life that's meaningful to you?
Oh gosh. Well, there's a couple of them that I've thought of recently, which is you can be scared, do it anyway.
Hmm.
Love that one. And I'm a big believer in the Serenity Prayer, and I don't know how well you know that one, but I mean,
Hmm.
it's just God grant me uh the courage to change. No.
The the ability,
God grant me the serenity to change the things I can, the courage. No.
the serenity to, or the ability
How am
to
I doing
accept
this?
the
I
things I
know
cannot
this.
change, the courage to change the things I can,
Things
and
I
the wisdom
can
to know
and
the
the wisdom to
difference.
know the
Yeah,
difference.
yeah. So it's funny you say that. I just finished a book today called "How a Little Becomes a Lot."
Ooh,
And I
I
think
like that. I'm gonna write
Zimmer
that
is the
down.
guy's last name,
What?
but he Zimmer, I think is the guy's last
Zimmer.
name
Okay.
who wrote it. How a little becomes a lot, and he was talking about he bases a lot of this. He has a podcast and different things. The One You Feed is his podcast, but he was talking about using some of those principles from that he learned in recovery years ago and how we make changes in our lives. And that if you're trying to make a huge change, it's not going to stick, but we make those changes little by little. So,
Incremental.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. And same thing, even with finances. I mean, there are things where you're not going to jump over a chasm in steps, right?
Hmm.
That's going to take one big leap, and you're just going to have to know that things are going to be okay, right?
Hmm.
I can show you how to build that bridge. But there's an awful lot of things where you're putting it together and you're just
Yeah.
steps, just something. Just
Hmm.
move forward. And that, you had asked about mantras. I think every day that I get out of bed, every day that anybody gets out of bed, we recognize the fact that today is a day that we can move forward,
Hmm.
whatever capacity. Right, wrong, bad, good, doesn't really matter because with action comes progress,
Hmm.
whatever that was going to look like. So, and I tell my boys all the time, you cannot fail. Failing is actually not a thing. You can
Hmm.
learn or you can succeed. But those are really the only two options. Unless,
Oh, I like that. You can learn or you can succeed. That's
right.
I like that a
Because
lot.
there's no failure. You just learned something from it. You went, okay, I think I won't do that anymore.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day today to talk with me. In this last little bit here, is there anything that you would like to say to close us out, to invite people that may be on the fence, maybe thinking about coming, just anything that you would like to add?
I'm so excited for this event. I really am. I don't know that people understand how power packed it's really going to be and how much information that they're going to glean from it. And it's just, women deserve to be talked to directly. I think local is helpful because I think we all live in the same area. We understand what we work around and amid. We all work very hard and we all ideally encourage one another. And I want to see a lot of these women really take away at least a few things that they can implement right now,
Mhm.
just right now, those success steps. And really, it's cheaper than coaching, right? You don't even have to pay for a coaching package. You don't have to go online and work with some random individual or some famous person who has a mastermind or whatever. You can come to one event where local women will be talking to other women about the things that they can be doing to drastically improve their lives, even over the next 2 quarters before the end of the year,
Yeah,
right? You can start making those changes immediately. And there's really not enough to be said for that. I mean, it's just an exciting opportunity that we're all going to have together to really bring that about. And I'm thrilled. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what we all learn from one another. And I it's going to be a great event.
I agree. I agree. Well, thank you again, Lorna, for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, September 17th at the Blueprint.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tiffany.